Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone and welcome to Group 8 presentation. My name is Mashitah Raihana Binti Ahmad Darzi, metric number 1202998. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is perception in Islam perspective. We can break this area down into the following heading. Firstly, introduction, perception in Islam perspective. Secondly, concept husnuzan and suuzon. Thirdly, concept tabayon. And fourthly, which is last, reason of the West refused perception of Islam. First of all, I like to give you an overview of concept of perception. The focus of this paper is not on conflict of agreement over the definition, but rather on concept of perception in Islam perspective viewpoints. In the field of social psychology, the phrase person perception refers to the various mental processes that we use to establish impressions of other individuals. Social categorizations allows you to make decision and develop expectation about how people will behave rapidly. This allows us to make snap judgment and decision, even though it can also lead to biases or stereotype perception of other people sometimes. Osman Bakar once stated in his article about Islamic perspective, Islam is at once a religion, a community, and a civilization. In all three senses, Islam is source of unique perspective on relation between science, technology, and ethics. In reality, Islam is the foundation of all things, which is why it is known as ad-din or way of life. As previously stated, Islam has an impact on the akhlaq and, or we call it, attitudes and attributes of its ummah. Perception is including under ethics and akhlaq. Muslims are significantly impacted by the Quran and Prophet Mohamad SAW in his hadith, in his history, as well as the works of early Muslim academics who contributed to natural and social sciences. From 51st chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Zariyat, verse 56, Allah said, which is the meaning, and I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me. It defines humankind's vertical relationship with God and individuals' relationship with their self, human-to-human relationship, and humanity's relationship with other creation. So after this, my friend will explain some of perception concept which is taught by Islam.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Mohamad Al-Fateh bin Hatta. My metric number is 1202984. So, I want to explain about Islamic concept. The first is husnuzan and the second is suuzan. Islamic is considered as a way incorporating every aspect of life, including happiness and mental health, through an action. In the sacred text, sometimes the emphasis is on husnuzan, what we call is positive thinking, while the other time the attention is given to suuzan, what we call is negative thinking, used as an indirect approach to positive thinking. It is a characteristic of a person to view people and event with good intention, both to see and interpret the circumstance as positive wherever possible. On the other hand, negative thinking can be considered a sin if the throw adversely color a person word or affect a person action. The meaning positive perception in Islam, from example in Quran and Sunnah, the prophet tradition portray the universe and its contents and event as over mildly positive, hence commanding human to regard it in the same ways. He has also made of service to you whatever is in the heaven and whatever is on the earth. All is from him, which is a gift of his grace. Al-Qurtubi states that everything in the universe is created for the benefit of humankind, including things that are disliked by human. is suuzon. Suuzon is a moral that is extremely unworthy or reprehensible, because the meaning of suuzon is misunderstanding in others, and suuzon is also an illicit of life desires. He said, whoever thinks that Allah is not available, help him in this world and the hereafter, so let him stretch out to heaven. Then let him go through. Then consider whether his deception can be eliminated what offend him. Prejudice is social attitude that is cognitive belief is degrading, expression negative or discriminative action. Prejudice is one of the social behavior that tends to be of a nature negative. It turns out that in Islam, such concepts exist and are very close to everyday life. One of the bad perception is that we don't trust ourselves. We don't feel confident in the capability we have, and this will have an impact when we are confronted by society, especially when come to speaking. When we have conflict in ourselves, cause us to feel that others are superior and nicer than us. When as in Islam does not teach us to see people around them better than ourselves, thus causing conflict within ourselves. Thank you from me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning to everyone. My name is Sofea, Hany, Natasha, Binti, Mohamad, Azhar. My metric number is 1203000. Now, let's move on to the Islamic concept, which is Tabayon. Before that, what is Tabayon in Islamic perspective? First and foremost, Tabayon is investigation, which is an Arabic word which implies verification or validation of the truthfulness of something in social media, such as WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Means is electronic media which is used to participate, share and make content. Next, Tabayon is any news or information received should be analysed and verified in relation to the truthfulness and accuracy of the data to forestall getting involved in any agendas or bad things like fitna, deception and degradation and other because of jealousy and hatred. In addition, Tabayon encompasses a similar meaning with tasabut, which stands to the similarity of the process. In some cases, the investigation doesn't require a final verdict. Its result is hospitable to many possibilities. For example, investigating the explanation for the flat tire, initially the investigators compile many data and facts that examine those matters, and finally they conduct those matters. Furthermore, Allah SWT commanded us to investigate and verify the truth that explains under Tabayon in Surah Al-Hujurat verse 6, which is, "O you who have believed, if there comes to you a disobedient one with information, investigate, lest you harm a people out of ignorance and become over what you have done regretful." This becomes important in order that not only ourselves who become victims of cybercrime, but also the other users who get the data.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Syakierah Binti Rezwan and my number metric is 1202988. I will continue to present under Islamic concept, which is Tabayon. Tabayon is defined as the behavior of checking, criticizing, clarifying information that has not valid and rushes to spread the information to others. From the results of the coding process, we found that there are four aspects of Tabayon. Number one is critical thinking. This aspect was lifted from the subject responses like seeking justification, filtering information, not easily believing, and being skeptical. Number two is self-control. This aspect is lifted from the subject responses like not directly spreading information, being careful, not being rash, and holding back information until it knows the truth. Number three is open-minded. This aspect is lifted from the subject response like being open-minded, tolerant, and being wise, in receiving information. Number 4 is information seeking behavior. This aspect is lifted from the subject's responses like clarification, finding out, asking the experts, and exploring the information that has been received. Now, let's move to the principle of receiving news. The manners and principles stated in the Quran teach us to always have positive and favorable views and not rush in our judgment in conveying news. This is emphasized by the Prophet Muhammad in a hadith from Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Iyyakum wadhanna fa inna dhanna akzabul hadith wa la tahassasu wa la tajassasu wa la taba'adu wa la tadabaru wa kunu ibadallahi ikhwana." Beware of suspicion, for it is the worst of false tales, and don't look for the other faults. Don't spy and don't hate each other, and don't cut your relationship with others. Sahih Al-Bukhari. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns against accepting anything without first verifying its truthfulness. Avoid prejudice and spreading disgracing or vicious news about someone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَارَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. Hence, verifying any news received is a commandment to prevent fitnah and animosity among humans. A famous methodology of receiving news states, إن كنت ناقلا فعليك بالتصحيح وإن كنت مدعيا فعليك بالدليل. If you are conveying any news, you must first verify it, and if you are claiming something, you must present the evidence and arguments to supporting your claim. However, a famous saying of scholars states, وَاتْرُكِ الْقَولَ وَالْقِيلَ. The meaning is leave the rumors said by people and what is being said. Thus, groundless news and speech without evidence or reliable sources should be avoided and neglected, and not believed and accepted or even used as evidence or support in other statements. That's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Adilah Binti Norazlan. My number matric is 1202997. The West refused perception of Islam. Throughout history, the relationship between the Christian West and the Islamic East has been signified by antagonism, context conflict, and hostility. Islam as a universal religion represented a new way of life. It is the responsibility of all Muslims to spread the message and spread of Islam through all available means, including violent jihad. European expansionism was not motivated by any religious philosophy or spiritual dogma, but rather by colonial ambitions as the society industrial, capitalistic and materialistic development encouraged Europeans to civilize the old world and to discover the new world. According to recent Amnesty International reports at the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Muslims have long been victims of prejudice in the West. The number of hate crimes against Muslims has skyrocketed, particularly in France and the United Kingdom. The vast majority of victims were visible Muslim women, particularly those who wore the hijab because are viewed as the contentious symbol in the West, emphasizing the difference and division between Western and Muslim values because as a sign of backwardness in West. In conclusion, when classical Orientalism claimed that Islam and the West were incompatible, as a result, they tried new and different forms of expression which lead to cause fragmentation.